According to the data we received from Captain Elson, the homeworld system is surrounded by a network of hyperspace inhibitors. The inhibitors are all heavily shielded and do not show up on any sensors. Elson has provided us with coordinates of the most vulnerable inhibitor station. Our goal is to destroy the station and create our own access point.
Hyperspace successful. We are at the edge of the homeworld system.
Elson's information was correct. This is the field generator. We must destroy it.
Welcome back to Homeworld Remastered, guys. This is Boomer, and yep, this is the long-awaited, I suppose, Bridge of Sighs mission, otherwise known as Boomer is off his medication that stops him from stealing everything. Now, unfortunately, because of the way this game is, I feel that the way I'm about to play this mission is pretty much tantamount to committing suicide for the last two levels, but I'm going to do it anyway because I think that it's pretty much the only way that you can play this mission as far as I'm concerned. So, yep, this is the ship that's going to have the most use in this mission, the good old salvage corvette. And I'm going to be using them a lot on this mission. I'm also going to be using proximity sensors quite a bit in this mission, and
Division reports advancements in sensor fidelity which would allow us to determine the location of enemy ships. We advise commencing research immediately.
Thank you very much there, Command. I really love being interrupted like that. The sensor array, because what the sensor array allows you to do is see where every ship on the map is. So that's a really good thing for us to be building at this point, because that shows me where I can send my salvage corvettes. Now, there are quite a few ships on this map, and as you can see, it's not really helped by the orange background. I seem to remember this being blue when I've played it before this game was remastered, but even if you can't see it too well there, you'll notice the little diamonds there. There is an enormous ball of ion cannon frigates that are hanging around near the hyperspace inhibitor. There's also a few other things which have been spawned due to the fact that I've come into this level completely and utterly loaded for bear, so therefore the game just spawns more stuff, because that's the way it makes the game more difficult. So yeah, each one of those diamonds is an ion cannon frigate, and my intention with this mission when I first started out was to steal every single last one of them. Now unfortunately I get a few of the ways of doing it wrong, so I am forced to destroy some of them, but there are going to be an awful lot of ion cannon frigates in my possession at the end of this mission, and you'll probably hear me say something at the start of mission 15 and 16, probably along the lines of I regret everything. But this is pretty much the way that I go about it in this mission. There are other ways to do it. I tend to send in my fighters, which will get the attention of the ion cannon frigates, and it will pull them out of formation, and I will then pull them into the waiting arms of my salvage corvettes. Unfortunately, this first pull went a bit wrong. Unlike in the first game, where you can have pretty much an unlimited number of salvage corvettes, I think you're still limited to 42 corvettes, but they don't limit you in what type of corvette you're dealing with. Whereas in this game, you are limited to 14 salvage corvettes, so therefore ion cannon frigates require 2 at a time to steal, so therefore you're limited to being able to steal 7 at a time, which I think I've gone ahead and pulled about 12 here, so that's going to be a little bit of a problem. So we're just going to have to deal with what we can do. But you can see we've got this entire wall of ion cannon frigates moving towards me. The hilarious thing is that I don't think the level spawns more ion cannon frigates, which is a little bit unfortunate because ion cannon frigates are completely not a threat to me at this point. Certainly if I can see them coming. I mean, if they all sort of came out of hyperspace right next to my mothership and focus fired it, then yes, they would be a major threat. But the way that they're doing here, which is just slowly plodding towards my mothership, they are not a threat the way they are here, because I can just come out and meet them. I can either steal them with salvage corvettes. My attack bombers will actually rip them to pieces, because ion cannon frigates can pretty much only fire in one direction. I think they have something like a 2-degree arc of fire, so they are completely pathetic at taking out anything that's actually moving. And in fact, my assault frigates that I still have from the Ghost mission currently basically, they throw so much firepower at this out, they would probably melt an ion cannon frigate before they get much of a shot off. So yeah, as you can see, I've got my salvage corvettes latched to about 7 of them, but I think there's another 7 which I've managed to pull here. So sadly, I've got no option but to destroy them, and there you go. You can see ion cannon frigates now opening fire, but because they're opening, I think they're opening fire on my attack bombers, which I'm absolutely fine with, because I don't believe that. I think the odds of an ion cannon frigate hitting an attack bomber which is actually not stuck in a gravity well are pretty much 0. And one thing that you will see, which I find quite cool here, is that my assault frigates, I think they actually have a range advantage over the ion cannon frigates. So due to the fact that I have such a massive amount of assault frigates, they just melt the ion cannon frigate before it even gets into range. So yeah, if I'm trying to be a perfectionist at this point, I would probably go back and go, come on, I want to steal literally everything. But there's more than enough on this map for me to, well, I don't know, I don't like using the term enough when it comes to stealing ships, but I'm going to get a lot of ships out of this, let's put it this way. I'll probably lose a couple of assault frigates during this mission. There's not too much in the way of complete Barneys that go on, but there are a couple in this mission, and when they happen, you do tend to lose a few ships when it happens. But for the most part, all the enemy's doing at this point is just sending a load of corvettes, which assault frigates are pretty much designed to completely melt through. So these things are not going to be a threat in any way, shape or form, and yeah, you can see them just going right down the middle of the gauntlet and dying, which, yeah, you'd have thought the AI would have made them at least break off so that they can take out the so that they can have a fighting chance. But you'll actually notice what they're doing, and this again is the way that the game treats targeting differently, is these corvettes are all suiciding themselves basically into my salvage corvettes. So basically the game has seen salvage corvettes and it's gone, I don't care what the cost is, I'm going to destroy your salvage corvettes. So these ships are literally just gangbustering straight into my salvage corvettes, and because they can outrun my assault frigates, I am going to lose some salvage corvettes here, although it's not going to have any effect on whether I can capture the ion cannon frigates or not. But it's just an annoyance more than anything else. And as you can see, they've now broken formation. They are killing some of my salvage corvettes, but I'll rebuild them. And in reality, this is more of a bee sting more than anything else, and I think it's just about the only attack that the enemy get off in this game, so I'll let them away with it. Although I wish my attack bombers were a little bit more effective here, because for some reason 2 corvettes or 3 corvettes are surviving for way too long here. There we go, I think that's got it. So we'll just rebuild those salvage corvettes. You'll see I've got plenty of RUs. I probably should have moved them out of the way there, but I was just thinking, oh, they'll be gone any minute. Why are they not getting blown up here? This is really irritating. But never mind. Just replace the forces and we'll be on our way. So we're going to go after the first hyperspace gate here, and one of the things that I can say categorically is do not just simply send your fighters after the first hyperspace gate, because if you do they will get overwhelmed, because at least for the first hyperspace gate there is a spawn in and it's a load of fighters and corvettes, and your attack bombers will just get ripped to pieces if that happens. So I'm bringing in pretty much everything, and I'm bringing my salvage corvettes with me as well. I'm hoping that I'm going to pull some ion cannon frigates, but I'm also bringing Gravwell generators as well, just in case the enemy ships get an idea, and I'd like to sort of stick them in place and let my assault frigates just do the business. I think I'm going to lose some assault frigates here just by being a little bit careless with them, but you can see that I'm just looking around, just trying to make sure that the ion cannon frigates don't get triggered by this. It is possible that that happens, which is rather annoying, but you know, these things can happen, so we just try and be a little bit careful. The only issue now is that my main capital group, because it's got 3 heavy cruisers in it, is very, very slow. But anyway, let's take out this hyperspace gate and see what comes through for us.
Group 3 has defeated the enemy.
The enemy has activated several standing hyperspace gates. Destroy the gates to prevent enemy reinforcement.
Group 10 reports enemy contact.
That is an awful lot of stuff that's just come through that hyperspace gate. 2 support frigates, boatload of corvettes, and a load of fighters. And as I was saying, you will pretty much, you know, you are going to lose assault frigates here if you go in first. Obviously, I've been a little bit stupid here, because I could have waited for my entire fleet to get here, and I think that between my destroyers, heavy cruisers, and my missile destroyer, that's my 1 missile destroyer, they would mop this up with absolutely no issues whatsoever. But on this occasion I've kind of jumped the gun a little bit, and my assault frigates are paying the price for it. But there's plenty more where they came from, so no issues really here. Also, it would seem that my attack bombers have split up, which is rather annoying. I have more attack bombers than that, definitely. Here comes the cavalry, which is going to wipe this lot out fairly quickly. I think my Gravwell generator was targeted and destroyed, so they are moving around, but you know, there's so much firepower in this vicinity that I don't think that these fighters are going to last. Oh look, my attack bombers made it. Nice of them to join me. So I always find it hilarious if one of those beams connects with a fighter when it's not under a gravity well. It's like, what was the fighter doing? Yeah, this isn't like it's in free space where they have anti-fighter beams which sweep all over the place and are very, very hard to avoid. So on this occasion you're just literally standing. Well, I suppose those beams sweep, whoever those beams were. I don't know, maybe the remastery to Homeworld 2 made them a little bit more accurate with what they're doing. But here we go, there's just so much firepower in this region that whatever small forces are in this region for the enemy. Oh, it looks like I have a couple of iron cannon. Have I got the attention of a couple of iron cannon frigates there? I can't imagine that something like this hasn't got their attention, and that's one of the things that was always weird about this level to me. It's that the ion cannon frigates will literally just sit there unless you pull them out, and you're thinking, I think that there are over 100 on this level. There's certainly like way over 60. So you're just thinking on that side, you've got all this firepower at your disposal, and you're literally just sitting there waiting for me to steal it all. Why don't you just, the moment you see that my ships are in the vicinity, you just send all 60 of those iron cannon frigates at my fleet, and even if you're not going to win, you're going to cause some very, very serious damage. So, you know, I'll just say thank you to the way the AI works in this game. Anyway, that's everything sorted from there. And yep, here's the central area. We are looking at what appears to be, I think that's 10 destroyers, somewhere in that region. Yeah, that looks like 10 destroyers to me. And there's also a heavy cruiser back there as well. I always have to make difficult decisions on these ones, because ideally I'd like to steal all of that, but because I'm so limited on salvage corvettes, there's no way that that's going to happen. So I guess that I am just limited to looking at the ion cannon frigates, try and snag the heavy cruiser, and if one of the destroyers splits off from the pack, I'll see if I can snap that off as well. But it's going to be rather difficult to get all of that sorted, I think, but we can always try. So I'm going to be doing another pull here, and to be honest, once I've shown a couple of these off, I'm going to go a lot more into sort of highlights rather than anything else. Reasoning for that being that, yeah, I do try and steal literally everything on this, but when I was looking at the footage, there's over 4 hours of it, and so much of it was literally just grabbing stuff, limping back to the ship, etc. So I think that just to save you guys some time and make the video at least somewhat watchable, I'll just go to the bits where I'm actually stealing stuff and not go through all the rigmarole. One piece of advice I can give, what I'm doing here is pretty much the worst way possible of stealing a ship. Reasoning behind that being that I'm approaching the ion cannon frigate head on, and if you approach a ship head on, you will you're running the risk basically of the ship just caning your salvage corvette, whereas the best option would be to approach from the side, and then you'll be able to not have the ship fire on you. This is extremely important if you're trying to steal larger ships like destroyers, heavy cruisers, etc., because if you're waiting for them to... Yeah, well, I've got the pull a little bit wrong here. And if you are waiting, if you attack those from the front, they will kill a salvage corvette pretty much in one shot. And you can see here I've sort of messed up because the one of the ion cannon frigates that I didn't go for is in range of the others, and that's gonna... Oh, I think he's hit you. Oh god, 2 of them.
Group 10 reports enemy contact.
Yeah, I didn't quite get to it in time, which is a bit annoying, but I think I have a spare one in that vicinity, so... Hey, stop firing, you should be in... Oh, that did not go well. But I think I've got...
Confirmed.
Have I got some spares? I think one of them should be... Yeah, it's pretty much just... yeah, I've sent 3 over here, haven't I? So I should be okay if I can pull back and get onto that one, because the ship should be... Yeah, the ship should be paralysed because it's got 1 salvage corvette on it, which it is. So it can't move, which is good, but also it's not fully under my control yet. So therefore, let's just correct that. There we go. And hopefully we can drag it out of here before those other ion cannon frigates. They're getting particularly close here. There's 3 of them, so 4 of them actually. Oh, they're really close. Okay, I'm going to send my attack bombers to try and stop this before it becomes a massacre. And you'll see here, my attack bombers will just absolutely annihilate these ion cannon frigates. Although, once again, my grouping has split up, and I don't think that that first X is going to be enough. I'm hoping that I can distract them, but I believe my salvage corvettes are actually moving away from the enemy ion cannon frigates quicker than they are catching up. So I think they're just outside of range, which is fine. But no, as you can see, that bombing run did literally nothing to make them spin round or do anything else. But this one, that should... Wow, I'm actually very surprised that ion cannon frigate took that. I thought that it would be... I thought that one volley would be enough. Ah, here comes the mopping up crew. Yeah, sorry, you were a hero to, well, no one really, but you're dead now, so...
Salvage corvette complete.
And one more to go, and that will be the end of this particular little mop-up job, and we can move on with the rest of the level. But I think that's 10 ion cannon frigates I haven't got now. Bad form, Boomer. Ah, well, meanwhile, back to things that matter more. Actually, no, this doesn't matter as much. I'm blowing stuff up here. This isn't stealing stuff. Ah, well, we're going to go after the next hyperspace gate, and you'll actually see that I have bought everything to this. And in reality, there's not really much for reason to. I think that it's only on the very first hyperspace gate where anything spawns out of it. So really, I bought the entire fleet here for not really too much of a reason, but hey, whatever. The attack bombers will quite easily take care of this hyperspace gate, and if nothing comes out of it, which it doesn't, then we can just move on with the idea of capturing everything and setting course for Higara. At least that's what I'm hoping to do. So yeah, dock everything back, and here we go. And this is what the mission pretty much turns into at this point, although, ooh, this is a little bit different. Is there a cloaking generator around here? Or, yeah. So this is the cripple my opponents in more way than one maneuver. I'm going to steal all their resource collectors as well, because why not? This mission really, especially in the original Homeworld. Now, from what I am aware from looking up a few things, is that the original Homeworld did have at least some form of difficulty scaling, but it was nowhere near as severe as the difficulty scaling in Homeworld Remastered. Now, I have to say that you can actually... I am running a mod. Like it's a mod / patch. It's kind of a community mod and patch, so it bug fixes, but it does add a few other things as well. And one of the things that it does have is the ability to scale up or down the difficulty level. And I do know of some people who have actually scaled the difficulty up to... I don't know really, maybe they just hate themselves, but they've decided to scale the difficulty up so the game will spawn even more stuff. I suppose, in a way, once you've played through the games enough times, you will pretty much know exactly what you have to do in order to win the game. You know that salvage corvettes are the solution to every problem possible in the game. So if you turn the difficulty up, salvage corvettes become a lot less of an I win button, whereas in the game as they are now, even as nerfed as they are compared to the original Homeworld, they are still how you win this game, or at least how you do it in the at least how you win this game in the most expedient manner. I think I'm actually being a little bit of a wuss here, because I could probably get everything here if I sent all my salvage corvettes, but I'm actually using I'm actually using my wall of assault frigates to take out a couple of them here. Yeah, I think there was 7 in total there, so I could have used all my salvage corvettes and maybe kept hold of all the ion cannon frigates, but I don't know. Oh, lost one there. I think my assault frigates got a little bit overzealous there, but never mind, got a few more for the fleet. I'm a little bit weirded out about why I didn't go with all my salvage corvettes there, but we have more things here. And in fact, we also have a carrier in the middle of the map. So yeah, we're going to grab that, I think. The problem that I have at the moment is that because all my salvage corvettes are in a group, that I can't just hit the group number because they'll detach. They're not very smart, and they will detach from the ships that they are currently capturing, and those ships will become live again, which would basically mean setting a load of ion cannon frigates and parking them right next to my mothership. And even though 3 ion cannon frigates or 4 ion cannon frigates won't do too much damage, it's still a pretty dumb thing to let happen. So looks like the carrier's all alone at this point, so we're going to send in our salvage team. Oh, it's not all alone. What's that? Oh, it's only a resource. Oh, a resource controller. They're worth quite a lot of RU. One thing that I will do when I capture resource controllers, and to be honest, we're at the point in the game now where you do next to no resource farming. So with that being the case, if I do capture resource ships, I'm literally just going to scrap them and turn them into RUs. So we're going to grab this carrier, and yes, it does the same stupid thing that it did in the I think 4th or 5th mission, something like that. Same stupid thing where it lets out a load of fighters for, you know, it lets out a bunch of fighters once you capture it. I think that's just like that's just a bug that's to do with the Homeworld Remastered port. It obviously doesn't. It changes the allegiance of the ship, but the ships that are within the ship, as it were, don't change allegiance. So therefore, they just get spat out, and then they're on the attack, which obviously is a pretty major goof on their behalf. Still, we'll just grab all this stuff, and yep, we're off into the big black again. Well, big orange, as it were, because it's not the big black, because space is orange in this. And we're just stealing more and more ion cannon frigates. My goal when I started this mission was to try and end this mission with more than 100 frigates, which is why you'll have seen the update on the update on my channel on the community page, where I said that, you know, I have no need of people who can know the concept of enough, because I am incredibly greedy when it comes to salvaging ships. And generally, I always like to be at the point where it's like, yeah, 100 ion cannon frigates sounds about right. And in fact, on this situation, this looks like it's a perfect salvage, because there were 7 ion cannon frigates pulled, and I think I've managed to get all 7 of them. So onwards and upwards. And to be honest, this part of the game, or at least this part of the level when I recorded it, was incredibly tedious. But I wouldn't say maybe I would say I'm a min-max player in a way. I tend to try and do things the most efficient ways, even if it takes, but this is going a little bit too far. I can probably win the game with what I have at the moment, and just doing all this sort of random stealing is, in essence, potentially making the game even more difficult for me. So, you know, that's something to potentially look forward to in future videos, that I may just have made the game impossible for myself to win. But as I said, I do have a mod that allows me to change the scaling difficulty if it does become an issue. But I'll only be using that if I consider the game to have become unwinnable, which, you know, is definitely a possibility given how much I'm stealing here. So we're going to take out the 3rd hyperspace gate, and that precludes the possibility of any reinforcements. Wow, I really have lost it here, haven't I? Because I'm just taking this ion cannon frigate out. I'm not even bothering to try and capture this one. I'm not considering what I'm trying to consider whether it's worth it to, you know, is it better to have a quick death at the hands of our attack bombers, or is it
Defeated the enemy.
a lot worse to be caught and sort of whatever happens to you inside the mothership? Because I can't imagine it's tremendously pleasant what happens to the crews of these ships inside the mothership. They seem to be turned incredibly quickly, so I'm guessing the crew are just simply killed and replaced with Higarans. At least that's my thought behind it anyway. So another ion cannon frigate coming in, and another one being by the salvage corvettes. Basically my salvage corvettes and my attack bombers at the moment are just pretty much doing sweeps of the map. And this is the situation that we now find ourselves in. The opening part, or at least the front half of the sphere, has been completely annihilated. We've only really got the back half now, and a nice cutscene about to happen, I believe, at this point. So I'll let you guys watch that. Okay, so now that that's dealt with, we can, well, it's a nice hyperspace gate, isn't it? It's pity that something's about to happen to it. And we continue our job. We're going to very shortly be coming up on the main destroyer force, and I think that's going to be sort of our last major battle. So I'm going to go in there with pretty much everything at my disposal, and by at my disposal I mean the stuff that's currently at the disposal of my opposition. So where are we up to at the moment? 82 frigates. That's quite a lot, really, but yep, I want my 3 figures, I want my 100. So yeah, there's just one more that's decided to float its way into view, so while the others are getting packed off to the mothership, I think we can probably look to advance our forces a little bit here, because yeah, you can see how we're pretty much open. We're going to have to go through this area anyway in order to get these ion cannon frigates, so I think yeah, it's time that we took on this blob. Now, 10 destroyers is an awful lot of firepower to go with a heavy cruiser, but don't forget what happened in the Supernova Station mission, where I ended up losing something like 3 or 4 destroyers. With the amount of firepower that I currently have at my disposal, I am not worried in the slightest about those ships. I'm just looking at, my logical side, or my evil side, as it were, is basically just looking at how many of these can I steal now. How many of those ships can I get on my side? Because don't forget, I'm actually at a point now where I can't build any more capital ships. I could build one more carrier, I suppose, but I don't really see the need. I can't build any more heavy cruisers. I can't build missile destroyers because I'm already capped out on destroyers, and I can't build frigates for obvious reasons. So I really am at the point where I can't build anything, so the only way to add to my fleet is to just hook, line and sinker thieve it. And as you can see, it looks like my attack bombers have got the attention of the ion cannon frigates that were actually in the centre of the hyperspace gate. And we have managed to pull them. It looks like we've managed to pull them without alerting the destroyer fleet. So that's pretty awesome. My salvage corvette should be able to do a really nice mopping up job there.
Docking with mothership.
You can see I actually have 12 resource collectors at the moment as well. So, this is absolutely insane. Just the amount of stuff that I've stolen here. But yeah, that's great having these ion cannon frigates pulled, because they are going to... I think if I get them all, I'll be extremely close to 100 anyway. I do find that I'm not a fan of this orange map. I'm really not. I do seem to remember it was blue in the original. Certainly the red dots to indicate the ships showed up a heck of a lot better on a blue background than they do on an orange background. Just checking here to make sure the heavy cruiser hasn't moved, and it hasn't, so all is well for the moment. And yeah, I'm trying to make sure that my salvage corvettes don't walk headlong into these ion cannon frigates, because the issue there is, as we saw earlier, these salvage corvettes won't last very long at all against these ion cannon frigates if I give the ion cannon frigates a chance to literally just bash into them head on. So trying to come round the side of them so they don't have a chance to blindside my corvettes, because they don't turn that quickly either. So I think that this is all good, or at least it should be. Crossing my fingers, because I want as much as I can get. There we go, just send them in a couple of times. I am being a little bit finicky here, I've got to say. But also, I'm sending them from a long way away. It might take my salvage corvettes a while to actually get there. I'm not too sure I've got this right, but we shall see. It's a... Ooh, I'm going to have to make a run at it. I'm not even sure I selected it. Yeah, I think I did. Yeah, just about got it.
Confirmed.
I'm more using the... oh, yeah, they've broken off. You can actually see the ion cannon frigates have broken off, and they're actually heading directly for my salvage corvettes now. So I've got to speed up here a little bit, because otherwise I'm going to lose my... Otherwise they're going to start firing on my salvage corvettes, which is not going to end well. So I'm hoping that they break and they're okay. Oh, I've lost one, lost two. So that looks like one ion cannon frigate is going to be... Oh God, lost three. No, we're okay. We're okay. No, now I've lost three. Oh, that's so bad. Losing that many is really terrible. But it looks like...
Stay on top of them.
Group 10 under attack.
At this point, I would be very close, to be honest. I would be exceedingly close to restarting, or at least loading from the time I tried. But it looks like I managed to get, what, 5 of them? Yeah, 5 out of 6 it looks like I managed to get here. So, yeah, for some reason 2 of them decided not to do anything. Like, stupid. But, yeah, I'm going to use my forces to destroy the other one. Stop taking pot shots at my fleet. No, what are you doing? Oh, God. And somehow my attack bombers managed to miss, because that's just what they do, apparently. Wow, what's the range? Was that a heavy cruiser that fired then? Because that is some very, very serious range, if that's the case. I've lost more salvage corvettes. Well, in fact, that was a complete disaster, wasn't it? But we'll just do what we have to. Ooh, I see a lone destroyer all on its lonesome. I wonder if we can do anything about that. The answer is, it looks like we did do something about that, and we're about to have the last major fight of this. There are cloaking generators with the team, with the destroyers. So what I'm doing is I've moved proximity detectors into the area, and I'm going to see if I can snag this destroyer that's on its own, and the heavy cruiser is coming as well, but it's also on its own. So my goal here is to snag this destroyer, swing round the back where the destroyers aren't monitoring, and grab myself a destroyer and a heavy cruiser and use my frankly irresponsible amounts of firepower that I have at my disposal now to take out this destroyer fleet. So it looks like my salvage corvettes are doing their job in the middle. Yep, got it. So let's see how this turns out. Oh my god, how much firepower am I directing in that direction? The destroyers aren't even facing the right direction. This is going to be an absolute massacre. Oh my god, how much firepower do I have here? This is absurd. I'm melting destroyers in like no time flat. Well, this show, yeah, superior numbers are sometimes just as good as superior firepower, and this is very superior in terms of both numbers and firepower here. Because don't forget, there's heavy cruisers in the area as well. Well, so much for the game making itself more difficult. Now, you will see these destroyers are turning to flee. Probably because they've seen salvage corvettes and the fact that they know they are about to just die. But wow, that's a lot of beams. So yes, the ships have disappeared for the moment. That's because of the proximity generator. So I'm going to use the frontmost proximity generator, and that will allow me to chase down this destroyer fleet before they get into range of my salvage corvettes that are currently grabbing that heavy cruiser. And in fact, my salvage corvettes have done it. They've got that heavy cruiser. But what I need to do is take down these destroyers before anything terrible happens. Because I don't want them taking out my salvage corvettes. But it looks like the destroyers aren't direct. Stop shooting the heavy cruiser. It looks like my destroyers, or the destroyers, are distracted, and my other salvage corvettes are getting away. I'm actually seeing if I can get my other salvage corvettes in here before the destroyers are destroyed. No, it doesn't look like it. Oh, mistakes were made there. Hope I didn't just click on the
Strike group under enemy attack.
because I've still got all of group. Yeah, I've got all of group 10 selected, and I've just let go of the heavy cruiser. So like, no, stop. Oh my god, I'm clicking literally everywhere. It's like literally anywhere except on the destroyer. You can see me having a right freak out there, because the last thing I want, I mean, this heavy cruiser on its own isn't a threat to me, but it's like I do not want to lose this heavy cruiser, and that all came from me having a major spaz out with my salvage corvettes. And I think I've actually let the destroyer up here go as well. Oh my god, it's miles away.
Ready.
Right, you, come here. Get that destroyer, because I think that my mothership's pretty much defenseless at this point. And you know, while you're at it, because I'm having to send them directly at the destroyer, I'm just sending more salvage corvettes than I need at this point. So, yeah, that place is undefended now. I have 97 frigates.
Group 10 under attack.
And now I've exceeded the cap. I've got 4 heavy cruisers as well. And 8 destroyers, because despite my complete incompetence with this, and that was complete incompetence, well, whoa, Nelly, less of that, please, gimme. Okay, we've got that destroyer now as well. Whew!
Standing by.
And we'll pick up these cloak field generators as well, just because they're something, I suppose. Well, yeah, I've actually even stolen their resource controllers in the centre of the map. That's how, like, vindictive I am on these sorts of things. Anyway, here's the final result. 112 frigates under my command, and I suppose you probably want to see the firepower of that, don't you? Well, Taidan, you brought this on yourselves. Death has come to your land, and I will be exacting full penance for what was done to Hiigara. So, I hope that you guys have enjoyed this slightly longer video because of the lengths and breadths to which I went on it in order to get as much firepower as possible. And we're ready for the Bridge of... well, we're done with the Bridge of Sighs now, and we are ready to commence our assault on Hiigara. So I will let you watch the final absolute cataclysmic destruction that this fleet brings upon a completely defenseless hyperspace gate. And thank you very much, guys, for watching, and I will see you next time. Enjoy.
Group 3 reports victory.
This is Group 3. Strike Group attack order confirmed. Strike Group attack order confirmed.
Group 3 has defeated the enemy.
Group 3 standing by. Strike Group to battle position. Group 6 copies. Strike Group attack order confirmed. Group 3 reporting.
Group 3 reports victory.
Strike Group prepare for assault. Strike Group prepare for assault. Group 6 copy.
Group 3 has defeated the enemy.
Group 3. Stand down. We're on hold.